Hey guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about Abathur after the experience changes and how I recommend playing Abathur. Keep in mind, I am in a coordinated group against a group that is not in a full team. So we have a little bit more idea of like what we're planning on doing. But I just wanted to show this game primarily to explain where he sits. I personally don't like him with the experience changes. So the first thing that I do at the beginning of the game, I'm placing a bunch of traps in locations where I think they're going to rotate, as well as just areas where we might need vision. I stay mid lane because I want to stay in an area where I can place down traps where I need them. They are cheesing one area. I just throw a hat up there, do some damage to them. That's all. I'm going to leave it on where you guys can see where I'm looking, just to make sure that you guys can watch essentially how I'm playing this out. I do hat the Diablo really quick, throw a couple abilities out, and that's about it. However, I want to make sure that I'm getting soak. So, the way you do it now with Abathur is kind of challenging. If you can't body soak from bushes anymore, which means that you have to body soak by essentially being in vision. Like, they have to literally see you. So it's very risky to body soak. Or you have to just stay really close to the gate like this, so that when the minions die, you at least get soak from that. Your hat can soak, so right there, I just hatted and I picked up all that soak and then I turned off the hat. So you're going to have to use your hat like that a lot to pick up extra soak whenever you need to. But at the same time, you're going to have to use your body during objectives still. It's just that you're going to have to watch very carefully at where the enemies are and where you are. I still like helping out allies. Unfortunately, I couldn't really help there. I had an Illidan and then I tried to turn off the hat so I could help bottom. Couldn't really do that. Used my hat mid to pick up some soak. And I'm going to use my hat here probably to pick up soak. No, I have to use my body to pick up some soak, which is, again, this is risky. If you saw something right there, I actually queued up a command. So I queued up walking in a soak range and then walking away so I could still watch top lane. So you can see my Abathur down in the little mini-map is still, he moved back into position even though I wasn't looking at him. That's something that I do a lot as well, where I'll walk forward on a queued command, which means that I hold shift, I right click towards it, and then I right click back to my base. That's going to make Abathur walk until I hit that first command and then turn around and walk back. You're going to have to start doing that, because if not, then you're going to miss out on soak in the lane that your body's in, or you're just going to end up dying by staying in vision range too much. So I want you guys to start practicing that as well. Right up here, I do wait. I wanted to save my hat until the Varian had commit a little too much into the fight, and then I wanted to give him a hat. You give him a hat, Varian just walks away. And this Varian's a pretty good player, too. I know him. He's a good player. So it's just a little tricky. It's like you need to make sure that you're playing it and still baiting. So they're playing this really well. Against an Abathur, you want to get a huge advantage before 10 before he gets cloned. Once he gets cloned, you're in trouble, because then they do really well during fights. I'm still waiting to get Mule as well. So again, I'm watching bottom to see where they are, but I also need to watch top because these minions are about to die. So instead, I just Z up to top lane, so I don't need to focus on hatting this, so I can hat my team down at the objective. So I'm going to be hatting my team and trying to keep them alive. Looks like Alex Straza is going to be taken out right here. So I just try to help out Jaina a little bit, but Jaina's already gone, so I need to walk away right as the Varian's finishing channeling. Once he's finished channeling, I am not in a safe position, so I walk back over here and I start watching the Illidan. I place 3 traps down just to try to delay them, or deny them anyways. Try to say them both at the same time. I'm denying them. So I try to heal up the Illidan just a little bit before this, but new Abathur, after his like rework, doesn't really get that strong until 13. So you need to get to 13 for you to actually be able to really heal people. So not only has Abathur gotten weaker because of that, but this new experience change is forcing it to where body soaking is really, really risky. So that's what it kind of bothers me a lot that he's in such an awkward position. Even in competitive, a lot of people aren't even picking him up on his best maps. This is one of his better maps too. I would say Cursed Hollow, of course, is his best map by far. But so I do a quick hat over here, but taunt, I mean, he's just getting blown up every taunt. which happens. Now I'm just placing a couple traps down. I'm making sure that I'm summoning minions in the lane that we're trying to take back a point, so it's safe to take back the point. We get an extra thing to taunt. I do pick up Mule. I don't want to use Mule on these turrets because they're so small and you can see behind them that they could just completely destroy them very quickly. So I hat the middle wall because that's usually the last thing people kill. They go turret to wall. So I hat the middle wall so I can do more damage to them. Yes, I could probably shield the turret longer and keep it alive longer. But at the end of the day, I'd rather pick the target that allows me to have the hat on longer. We're going to lose a lot up top, but we do have Mule. So as long as we don't completely lose this, that's okay. We can just drop a Mule down. So I immediately set a Mule down, and then I start watching my team. I jump down bot because they're all showing top. Now, one of the things that I do quickly, look, I drop down 3 traps, I walk near it, and then I immediately had another lane picking up the soak from that lane. Right as these minions are dying, I'm going to pick up the soak, and I'm going to walk away. I'm even worried about walking away too late because we saw them all rotating from mid, so I'm going to immediately walk away. I'm going to put down my traps again so I can keep vision on them and know where they're going, just in case if they try to go for an objective. He keeps killing my traps, and it happens. She's getting soak mid, so I don't need a hat mid. Any lane that your team's getting soak in, you don't need a hat, but you can quickly hat any minion of a wave that's about to die just to pick up the soak. It's actually like, it's a weird game that you have to play now, where you have to be using your hats less for your team and more so for just picking up soak. But you can also body soak, you just have to do it a lot riskier. You just overall gotten a lot of nerfs, even after he already got a bunch of other nerfs. So again, I like to jump to lanes where we're in the opposite lane of the objectives. We see all of the enemies, so it's pretty safe for me to just pop up top, get some soak, and you may even need to move forward a little bit. So I keep checking on myself to see if I need to move forward, but I want to keep my hat on this guy as long as possible to see if we can't take out this Varian. If Varian's gone, then we won't have to worry about him getting taunted and just blown up anymore, which will be really nice. So I'll be able to get one more heal on this guy, and then I might stop. I might hop off. So right here, I'm going to step forward, and I'm going to put my traps there. So now I'm going to be back in soak range, and my traps will get kills. I had it a little too late, but I was waiting for the cooldown anyways. So now we've got the cooldown on this hat. And he's going to be in a really rough spot. Remember, levels 13s is when I get really scary as far as healing goes. As far as what we're looking at, I am topping hero damage pretty much just from the hats alone. And APOC's annoying because it's always going to interrupt the hat. Wait, did I break my... I broke my thing, didn't I? Oh, hold on. I need to press E. There we go. That's right. Okay. So I've taken all of their front walls up top, which is, again, still what Abathur can do. After his rework, he pushes a little bit harder than he used to, which is kind of nice. But I do, with me killing those minions, I did have to hat really quick just to grab that experience. I hop in right here to grab some more experience, and then I can immediately start hatting. I am taking a bit of damage, though, so I have to just take a step back. 1 W should help me clear up that, and then I can go back to hatting again. As far as builds go, I'm going to quickly tab just to show you what build I'm going. Pressurized Glands into Adrenal Overload. I don't really like this talent, personally. I normally go the Mine talent, but in this case, we did have an Illidan, and an Illidan with extra attack speed is nearly unkillable if he's not bursted. Pressurized Glands is necessary if you want that level 13 power spike. Mule is nice because it's not just helping you guys from losing the game, but it's also preventing the enemies from getting experience. And then Ultimate Evolution is just great because I can clone the Illidan, so we can have 2 Illidans diving in, or I can clone the Jaina because our chill effects stack. Not necessarily stack, but we get to use each other's chill effects for bonus damage. So I give chill to Jaina, and she gets bonus damage, and she gets chill, and I get bonus damage, stuff like that. Right here, I dropped down a Mule. Just to kind of prevent this a little bit, and then I had it to try to just keep it alive just a tad longer while we're taking top. Then I'm going to move closer, so I drop down things, and I'm going to give him extra attack speed. With this extra attack speed, we at least take a trade, which is nice. I see a couple of them rotating up, so I decide to walk away. Or scoot away. And they're currently in the lead, but we are about to hit 13s. I head down back bot because I want to be summoning these minions that are going to slowly take down the keep. I may also use Mules on the top left one to give it back. So he goes in, he hunts, and he goes immediately for Stukov. I do a little bit of damage. We kind of go from there. One little poke here or there. Pretty good damage. We take out Stukov. Unfortunately, we lost 2 people to take out 1, so we're going to get taunted and probably blown up. There's the taunt. There's the blow up. So what we're going to need to do is, because we keep getting taunted and blown up, none of the talents that I have are going to give armor. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to scare them before they start doing that, and then we're going to have to take the awkward fight, which is why I changed from cloning the Illidan to where I'm going to start cloning the Jaina. Right here, these are the fights you love, where you have someone who has a little bit of healing, and you also have that that Soma transference. Everyone that you hit with your Spike Burst is going to heal for 107, and your Spike Burst is going to have a very low cooldown, so you're going to be constantly just healing and doing damage and healing and doing damage over and over and over. So right here, I clone the Jaina. We aren't really fighting over anything major. There is this objective right here, and I just walk up and I'm just burst. I missed my Q, but I did pop his ult, which is nice. Now I can take the leftovers of the Jaina, and I can just go suicide at their towers if I want to. So we can do a huge chunk of damage in here. Very, very high amount of damage. We are able to take back bot. Between Illidan and my little summons that I'm doing, we were able to take back bottom, and we were able to do a good chunk of damage to them as well. They're still ahead, but that's okay, because we're about to get control over bottom lane, which will be really good. So again, I hop middle just to quickly soak the minions that have died, but then I turn off the hat because you can always grab it back later. I want to do a little bit of damage up at them top, and then I'm going to go hat mid again, most likely. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I just was checking for Mule. So I checked the health of all the towers. That's why I checked all of those. And I didn't grab the experience mid. I just wanted to make sure I had Mule value going out. So right here is actually a better chance. While we are probably going to get instantly blown up, if he survives for even just a little bit, I get a lot of healing. So I'm going to head up top. Again, all of them have shown bot, so I want to make sure I'm getting value in another lane. Even though you can't do it hidden like you could before, I still want to be in a position where I can do something. Almost to a shield. It happens. So right here, I'm just going to get in a position where I summon beetles, or not beetles, but the locusts. Possibly get some value. I did poke him right before he could use his ult. He wasn't expecting to take poke damage, but I got 1 Q off and was able to get a nice kill on him. I hat mid, but I ended up hatting the wrong target. Didn't get a lot of soak there. I'm a little afraid because there's a big wave there, so I'm going to have to walk away, but I might want to hat it really quick so I still get the soak. You see, I still get all the soak from there, and I am far enough away, but I need to get further away because they saw me up here, and I don't want them checking to see where I am. Now, I will be putting a couple traps out just to see where they are and where they're going to be coming from. And then I'm also going to get some soak mid. So you can see the soak is finally coming in our favor as far as like soak goes. I'm not the top of the soak. I am still topping the hero damage, but I am keeping up. And again, the soak is still a lot harder than it used to be. It used to be super easy to stay ahead on soak as Abathur. So right here, I'm going to Z up here before the fight. And then I'm probably going to see if I can keep someone alive. Once he's not alive, I might just immediately clone the Jaina. There we go. I clone the Jaina. Now I can scare off the enemies and keep my team alive. We'll be able to get 1 kill on Blaze, and I'll be able to continue permanently slowing this this variant. But in this case, I'm just going to end up dying to the Zul'jin, which is okay because I'm pushing top at the moment, and I still have hats to help my team. Level 16, I take the talent where I give my team extra movement speed. It's just super valuable. And I also muled the one that we took down in the bottom left. So during that entire fight, I was actually healing that bottom left turret. So Abathur is still all about doing like 13 things at the same time. And if you're not doing all of those things, you really need to work on it because he's even weaker than he was before and he's harder to play than he was before. They haven't done anything to buff him really. His W build's a little bit stronger, but that even after that W build change, it still wasn't as strong as the old shield build. And with the new experience change, you can't be like the top of the experience anymore. So you can see I do place traps a lot just to clear minion waves quickly, just so I can get that extra experience. But this gets a lot better if I would have taken the level 4 talent, where you get extra nest, and your nests have lower cooldown. I actually really prefer this talent over Overload. I only ever really take Overload if we have something that really needs it. But even then, I never like to hat range targets, and I find attack speed's most valuable on range targets, so it's very situational. So I'll usually take Prolific, or I'll take like Needle Spine, because I like to hat melee targets. Again, another Mule goes down to that bottom keep, trying to keep it alive just a little bit longer. I'm still soaking top while also pushing in and getting more value up top, while I'm also hatting this Illidan. So you can see this big wave happening top. And then I head down bot. Illidan's already winning, so I'm going to quickly clone the Jaina, and we're going to take out this Blaze almost instantly. And then we're going to turn in and see if we can't zone them out from anything else. I have a clone, so I just need to go suicide it somewhere. I'm pretty much just going to go mid, blow up the wave, and then I might go suicide it into their base. Usually if you have leftover health on a clone, you want to just like try to... you want to just take damage so that the enemies waste resources. But yeah, I do have the extra movement speed, so if I ever need to get someone out of a fight or into a fight, I just press E. You can see how fast he moves. It gets really powerful after level 20. He probably could have gotten that kill, but that's okay. Yeah, he could have done that onto Zul'jin, but it's okay. So... as we approach level 20, while they did buff your clone, the upgrade, Hivemind is still super good in this build because you're going to be giving people a bunch of healing with your Ws. You're also going to be giving them movement speed, and at this level, I usually go Needle Spine, which means that you're going to be firing off 2 different needles and doing a lot more damage. You can really shave down the time it takes to kill fountains or whatever you're trying to do. So I like to go Hive Mind, and that is essentially the build that I run. It's very similar, I just go more W-oriented rather than shield-oriented. I'm checking to see healths, so I just checked all the fort's healths for Mule, if you were curious about that. Now I'm replacing down traps so that we have vision in wherever we need to go, and I'm also going to quickly... double check to see what lane I can go to. I see all of them going top, so I head down bot with my body, as it will increase the rate that we are able to push. Illidan grabbed top camp and then hunted down so that he could avoid them, and now I'm going to walk away because we've got an objective here, and I don't really want to worry about this. So I'm just watching at the moment to see if I want to hat anyone. I do toss down a Mule. Mules last 40 seconds, so you can toss them down a little early if you're expecting a fight to happen, even if it's a full health structure. It'll just sit right where it's at if it doesn't have anything to heal. So you can see the Mule just sits there, and then if they try to attack it, it's just going to immediately heal it. So you'll see like they're going to do some damage to it, and then the Mule's just going to immediately heal it, which is okay. I'm not too worried about it because I'll have the Mule back up before I actually need it again. So I do that every once in a while. It's nothing you need to do, but yeah, boom, hunt. And now we have 2 hats. So both of these hats are going to be healing each other, and both of these hats are also going to be giving movement speed, and they're going to be giving shields, and they're going to be giving healing, and they're going to be doing double spikes. I love 2 hats. It's so good. Like, look at that movement speed that it gives to Jaina and Illidan. And now everyone's topped back off, so I'm going to head over here to summon minions a little bit closer. I might also drop down traps so that they tank the turret shots, and there's another Mule. So I used 1 Mule already to try to prevent it, and then I used another Mule. Unfortunately, they did take it out pretty quickly. If we just pushed a little bit further, I think we'd have been okay, but that's fine. And we have another hat. This should be... oh no, this is a clone. I did a clone. See if we couldn't scare him off. We did get a Taz Dingo burned, but hat might have been more valuable there. And now we're just going to continue pushing up here. They were all still bottom, so I don't need to move yet. And I'm trying to leave the minions in the explosion. I pick up the experience mid. And now you can focus a little less on soaking now that you're level 20s because death timers are so long and soaking minions is just like such a small amount of experience. So it's not worth doing the risk of that. So in this case, I just back up. There's nothing I really need to do. I can set traps or get vision or anything. It looks like I'm like typing or something. I'm not really sure. And there we go. Just focusing on pushing out lanes, getting soaked. They get a boss, which is a good call, because if we would have won one more objective, then boss would have allowed us to win the game. So that's a good call. They're taking everything that's safe for them to take. They've been struggling a little bit in team fights, so they're like, hey, what can we do to make this a little easier? So right here, when I hat both of these, you can see that there's 2 spines coming out at once, and there's also 2 Ws. I just love that. I know everyone who's watched this and has already played Abathur knows exactly what it is, but for those who haven't played a lot of it, it's like, it's just so cool. So they attacked the mule. That's all right. I'm placing down vision traps once again. You see the locations that I usually place down vision traps are essentially the same. I have rotation traps, I have bush traps, and they do hit. Like, I just revealed both Zul'jin and Orpheus, so we know that they're invading. Because we know that they're invading, that means that I know that I've got time to try and use a clone. All the resources they spend on my clone is wasted because it's going to die anyways. So whatever time I can use on clone is like super nice for me. Unfortunately, we did lose the Jaina a little too fast. I do a heal onto a Diablo, and this fight is going to look pretty bad. So I checked down bottom lane in case I wanted to jump down bottom lane, which I should have just jumped down bottom lane because I'm in a really weird spot, and they end up killing me here. But I was planning on just Zing down bottom and then also soaking mid. So I got all of that soak, and they were able to take that. I do end up dying here, and I get chomped. Yup. The big old chomp. Oh, sad Abathur. We'll fast forward a little bit. We lose a couple structures, and we lose a good chunk of our lead. And coming from a team that is a coordinated team that's working together, that's pretty rough. But I placed down 2 more traps. We get vision of 2 different people, so we know exactly where they are. They grab that, and that's okay. We just need to take back bottom. So ultimately, I'm going to probably just Z down here to see if I can summon some extra minions to help out. Oh, actually, I just cloned Jaina to speed this up. I forgot about that. So I was only able to get about 25% of it before they showed up. I wasn't really expecting them to show up, and that's okay. Right here, I'm just going to try to keep hats going, try to keep Diablo going. We killed off the camp that they picked up. They'll be able to take this objective. There's nothing that we can do to interrupt it. If I would have dropped hat earlier, then I could have interrupted with a mule. So you can drop a mule before an objective drops, and they have to kill the mule, or else you can keep hatting the mule and interrupting. So it's just something to think about. I didn't do it this game, but it is something that you can do. And that is the rough fight for them. I give the hat that pretty much makes the Diablo unkillable and also makes the Illidan too hard to kill. That extra movement speed is going to allow them to just walk through the enemy team and get whatever kills they want. And that double W is enough to just finish off whoever we need to. At this point, they have everyone dead, and I can push middle while my team pushes bottom, and we can take middle and bottom at the same time, and that'll make it to where the enemies will... and I drop down a mule too, just so it tanks the tower, so our Diablo doesn't get that attack speed reduction, and boom, we just strike it. You can see the double strikes from W and Q. We just rip through it. With both of these dead, that's going to be the 3 tower captures doing 1 damage every 3 seconds, which if you look at the timers, that means that that is game, because they won't even be alive by the time that it fires off 6 shots. And that's pretty much it on Abathur. He's a lot weaker than he used to be. He's a lot riskier than he used to be, and they haven't fixed the reward for it yet. I always think that risky heroes should have a good reward, right? High risk, high reward. The challenge about Abathur right now is he doesn't have a high reward. He has high risk, but he's still not that strong. You can feel the fact that you're not 1 extra body in the team fight. The only time that it felt pretty good was when we had clone going, and then the clone would just die, which is kind of what you're supposed to do, or if they took like a really awkward fight. Overall, as far as macro goes, I didn't even top the experience contributed. I did more than their team, but I mean, a double soaker is just going to purely do more experience than you, because you can't just sit in lane and soak experience in a bush forever and be safe with that. You have to be in vision range. So I personally think that Abathur needs a little bit of a buff, but he's a very tricky hero to buff, because if you play him well, he can be pretty annoying, especially when in combination with like a an Illidan or something. So overall, that's what I would really say for Abathur. I think that he's just rather weak, but that's okay, guys. If you still enjoy playing Abathur, you can still play him. You can try doing other builds out with him. But for the most part, I just think he's rather in a really tough spot right now. But I did want to show you guys the new playstyle of how I soak lanes. I do just quick Qs. I use my Ws a lot in lanes to soak the lanes, and then I use Ws during objectives to get vision. But for the most part, couple Ws a Q soaks the lane. If I do use my body to soak, I do it very quickly. I walk in, I walk out. I'll use shift commands to walk in and out, and I'll also use my Z to go to a lane really quickly, and I'll just sit right there. But it's very risky. I mean, if we're going against a global, I couldn't have done half of the soaking that I did this game because I would be just visible in lane every single time. So you're very susceptible to globals. So if you're ever playing against an Abathur, I recommend just picking a global because he's going to really struggle to soak against it. And if he soaks at all, you can just use your global to instantly kill him. That being said, that is new Abathur. If you guys want to try him out, try him out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and feel free to check out my other videos.